Hello, Fightful Faithful. Welcome to review of a show that is go home to another show and also another show. There's go home to two shows, and I just feel like I want to go home. Although I'm already here, but I want to stay here and never go outside again. That's how depressed I am about this episode of television. I'm
This
Alex.
was
This is Kate.
a stay home episode for you. This wasn't a go home. This was a stay home episode because you don't want to leave again.
I don't want to leave home.
I get it. Hey, you want to enter a battle royal?
Not if it involves punching a lot of my coworkers in order to get into the battle royal.
As one of your coworkers, I appreciate it, but it seems real easy to enter this battle royal. Like all you have to do is show up.
Yeah.
What's up? But this is the NXT Sourgraphs post show for July 8th. So get in your super chats and humper chats at humperchats.com. We appreciate the support. 183,000 subscribers to this YouTube channel. So if you're not one of them, you're not popular. Sometimes, look, I admire people that are leaders, that stand out and speak up against things that may be easier to go along with. People that think differently and use their platforms in special ways. Sometimes it's just good to be one of the sheep. And this is one of those times. Just subscribe. Just subscribe to this YouTube channel. That's what I think anyway.
I mean,
we do appreciate it though. And we will remind you to subscribe to Fightful Select, where two things from today's All-In press conference call deal got confirmed. One, our Britt Baker story that Tony Khan had not at all talked to Britt Baker about her leaving the company in any way, shape, or form got confirmed. And also, Mercedes Moné does not have creative control.
Yeah, but that's what Tony Khan would say if she did, though.
Get in your super chats, get in your humper chats. We got a lot to talk about. There's too much wrestling this weekend. There's a lot of wrestling.
There is a lot of wrestling, but there is more sports entertainment.
There is more sports entertainment. But there's ROH. There's SmackDown. There's All In. There's the Great American Bash. Yes. There's Evolution. There's Saturday night's main event. It's too much. It's so much wrestling. But darn it, if we don't have you covered on all of it, well, then we're not Fightful.
Right.
We do is the point that I was making.
Right, yeah. Okay. In honor of, I don't know. Maybe not in honor, in dishonor. I don't know. What do we do for puns, Kate? I was like trying to figure out what we do for puns, and I was like, spa day puns. Is that a thing that we probably not? Right? I don't know. What's the?
Ooh, is there like a things that come in mobs deal?
No.
Well, we couldn't do 4th of July puns. Want to just do a cop out? No, I'm not like, let's talk about America too much right now. What should we do as puns? Let's do Canada again. That was fun. The fucking says.
That was fun, but no, I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's whatever it is. This is a thing. I don't know. Spa day puns. I don't know.
We could do glamorous puns. Makeup.
Yeah, I was thinking evolution puns, like Darwin Allen instead of Darby Allen, Darwin Allen. But
no.
The Beast Galapagos, not the Beast Mordos, but the Beast Galapagos. Is that too niche?
I'm gonna say too niche.
Okay, well, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Listen, if we do woman puns, that's very broad and also could end up very bad. So
glamorous puns, spa puns. My video's freezing, huh?
Yeah, it's just it's hiccuping.
It's
Not freezing. It'll just go eh, meh,
like a Dave Matthews song.
Yes.
Eat it up in the morning. He sounds like his DVD player is skipping, if you remember those. Those should be the puns.
Little hands are marching.
We should do stoner rock puns, but we'll stick with gal puns. Glamour, spa day, puns. I broke Alex. 6 minutes into this, I broke Alex.
I'm in such an easily breakable mood, you know? Like
it helps when you're already broken, I find.
Yeah. Boy. There you go. I love this. There you go, Louisville. Mick exfoliate. that's fantastic. Impressive. That's fantastic. So yeah, this is the go home to the Gab, but it is also somehow, even though it's not, the go home to Evolution. I guess they decided they didn't want to end SmackDown with all the women in a lackluster brawl in the middle of the ring. So they said, let's do it on NXT instead. And they flew in a whole bunch of women from Raw and SmackDown to be backstage and then walk out and not really know why they're there, and then do a lot of I'm missing your head with my punches while security tries to get a hold of everything, and Vic Joseph goes, ah!
He did do that. You're not wrong. It makes me wonder if, because Julia isn't on this card, right? I'm wondering if she's the match for Saturday night's main event for the women.
Could be.
If that's the case, then we'll see. But the ending to this was a mess, and I feel bad because I think Ava's summit deserved better, quite frankly. Like, I actually thought she did an all right job with this. She talked about how she was the first women's manager of NXT. She named the talent from NXT who were going to be in it. And then a bunch of people from the main roster and other people from NXT just showed up and decided they were in it, which feels wrong.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not so good.
It was messy.
I'm sorry. I was just doing new puns in my head, and Sephora Mensa.
Oh, good old
Sephora Mensa. Yeah, Sephora Mensa. I'm just trying to think of. I don't know. So we started out with so we see Hank and Tank in their star-spangled overalls and nothing else, walking through the parking lot, and I was like, "Holy, that looked like Candice LeRae." And I wonder why it's that either that wasn't her here? Or why is she here? And then Mike Santana and Joe Hendry walking through the parking lot, another shot, and that's definitely Steph Vaquer. And I was like,
we're doing one of those.
We're doing one of these things. And then they announced pretty soon after that an Evolution Women's Summit. And I was like, you mean an Evolution Women's setup to a big lackluster brawl to end the show? And that is exactly what happened.
I feel like the one that we got tonight it lacked even more luster than we normally get. Like it felt like a thrown together segment, not like this is a segment that we constructed and we threw together all this stuff. It felt like the whole thing from front to back was thrown together. It was like, you get out there. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
But we did start with the Gauntlet match of Ricky Saints versus the Vanity Project.
We did.
I pitched this, but not this. You know what I mean? I pitched the idea of Ricky Saints running a Gauntlet of the Vanity Project, but not running it in 12 minutes, and not having zero problem with it. Like, he was at no time was he in danger of anything. It wasn't like the first guy he pinned, and then he pinned the second guy, but the first guy slid back in there and got some shots in while the referee was distracted by Ethan Page. So now he had to fight from underneath against the brand newly crowned Evolve champion, Jackson Drake. There's a D in there.
Yeah.
Jackson Drake. And which would allow Jackson Drake to get some shots in himself and maybe look better than terrible. But instead they were just like, no, Ricky, we're just gonna cut. You will be a white hot knife, and they will be butter. And that is what you will do to these guys, which makes Ricky Saints look great, but makes Jackson Drake look terrible.
Yeah, that was the thing that I noticed too. I feel like what I appreciated about this was women's equality, because normally it's the women whose time gets shortened for men's segments that are exhaustive and not that great to close shows. This time it felt like the other way around. And I don't have a problem with Ricky Saints going through talent that are on the Evolve brand rather quickly, because they're supposed to be a step below NXT.
Sure. Yeah.
And but the champion should be not that.
If the champion was Keanu Carver, or if the champion was Edris Enofe, or if the champion was Shawn Legacy, I would hope that that you wouldn't have Ricky Saints just completely, absolutely just steamroll through that guy. I mean, yes, the guy got in some offense, but at no point was Ricky ever in any danger. So I just think that if you decide we're making a guy the champion of Evolve, then he should be at least, if you moved him up, he would be at least a decent mid-carder on the NXT roster. And if he wouldn't be, then you shouldn't put the Evolve championship on him.
I think too, there was just an inherent problem of none of these guys have the build to soften him up for Ethan Page either. They didn't get any punishment in on Ricky, so it didn't really accomplish anything for the Ethan Page side of it, and it's not going to protect Ricky Saints if he loses Great American Bash.
Okay, so we've seen a lot at this point, not a lot, but enough of the swipe right fellas to know that they can go in the ring, especially as a tag team.
Yeah. And which direction they swipe.
All exclusively in this direction. That's on my right, not your left. It's my right. Anyway.
Stage right.
But Jackson Drake, I'm looking at him and he looks like teenage Zack Sabre Jr. build wise. Does he not?
Does.
He looks like 17-year-old Zack Sabre Jr. build wise. And Zack Sabre Jr., he's so lithe in the way he moves in the ring, and obviously his expertise with holds and everything makes up for all of that. But very young Zack Sabre Jr. was a twig, and this guy's got as he was getting in the ring, I was like, does that child have a scythe tattooed on his side? And then immediately, as if to answer my question, the Carolina Reaper, no, I'm sorry. If you look like this, you are not allowed to give yourself the nickname the Carolina Reaper. No, that's a guy who looks like this, who plays a lot of Call of Duty, but no one's actually seen him in real life, and he's really good at it. He gives himself the nickname the Carolina Reaper, but he looks like this. Jackson Drake, I don't know how old he is. He looks like he's a sophomore in high school. He's just got that very, very young thing with his face, and he's good. Don't get me wrong. He's obviously knows what he's doing in the ring, but you look at him and you go, hold on. are you old enough to be here, young man? I'm gonna need to talk to your parents. Like that's what that felt like to me.
He does. I like the comparison to an extremely young ZSJ, and I don't even think he was extremely young. Like I think 27-year-old Zack Sabre Jr. also kind of looked like this, to be honest. Yeah, it honestly, like, even I was getting text messages from someone who even said like Brad Baylor also looks like a babyface. These guys just look and are young. I think
they're very young,
but it is like a before young men like fully fill out their frame, it is kind of like it's a jarring thing when you see them in the ring, literally from like a body protection standpoint in some ways. Like you just get like extra nervous. I know you have problems buying into certain things because I know your opinions on Darby Allin, who is not someone that is necessarily like so it's not like a body shaming thing. It actually, as a fan, can sometimes inhibit your ability to buy into certain things.
Right.
I felt like I didn't have a problem with anyone's performances in the match because they were 3 minutes and there just wasn't a lot to really look for. But they all look great in what they did. I just felt like didn't do anything to help Ethan Page for the weekend. And Ricky Saints did just get to kind of steamroll his way through. I will also say, like, nice to see Ricky Saints actually wrestling again.
That is true.
Like, I haven't gotten to see enough of that. So
like this is the kind of thing where I feel like there's a problem with the men's roster on the whole, and B, what you've been doing with Ricky Saints. We lost Kate. Kate went bye-bye. Bye-bye, Kate. I
fix things.
Oh, okay. Sure. Well, no. Not really. So anyway,
on an ad break.
The Ricky Saints thing, while he was champion, he didn't do anything.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, if he had done a lot more talking and did a lot of trash talking, but then backed it up. Like if he had been like, this is what Ricky Saints does. Ricky Saints wrestles. So every week we're coming out here and doing we're doing an open challenge, but it's also open mic night. You don't get one, I do. You want to come out here? You want to challenge me? That's fine, but I'm going to drag you for 20 seconds first. And he does that, and it works, and it's good, and he beats them. But he also pisses off a bunch of people, and maybe a few of them are large. And they lost to Ricky Saints, but Ethan Page says, you've made a lot of enemies, including these fellows who are all over 6'4" and over 250 pounds. And I'm going to use those guys to soften you up, as opposed to these 3 children that I've taken under my wing. You know what I mean? So I just think that it was weird that they set up like, hey, you want to get over? You got to go through the Vanity Project. Good luck. And it took him literally 4 minutes per guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're going to script the heel to be like, you got to run a gauntlet against my guys, and then your guys do nothing to help you, then the next script that they write is you kicking those guys to the curb and getting new guys. And I don't think they're going to do that. And I think the Vanity Project works. You just got to actually use them correctly in a way that helps Ethan. And this wasn't it. Like you would easily have had them cheat to help. Like it's more about making sure he doesn't win the entire gauntlet, as opposed to go in there and do what you can and get a victory, fellas. Like, no, you got to hurt him. Like you have all the guys who lost stuck around at ringside. They're with the 2 of them and Ethan Page. That is so much distractions they can run to the referee while Ricky's gets gets hit in the throat with a wiffle bat. You know what I mean? do something to like, aggravate the throat injury.
I'm not going to sit here and advocate for more interference on a WWE product, but I'll tell you what, Alex,
when it works, it works.
That
it
is
doesn't
true.
work most of the time, but in this case, it would actually make sense according to the characters who are involved in the story. I'm done now. You can talk.
Well, what I was gonna say is if you want to feel like you're cheating at life by making money on some pro wrestling, I know where to send you. And Sean Ross Sapp is going to tell you all about it while I try and leave StreamYard and come back so that my connection is better.
What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp here to tell you about MyBookie.ag. Use the code FIGHTFUL, get a $50 bonus when you deposit $100 or a $100 bonus when you deposit $200. Big week of wrestling ahead right now. Here were the opening line odds for next weekend. Gunther, a significant favorite over Bill Goldberg in the possible retirement match of Bill Goldberg. You have Seth Rollins, a big favorite over LA Knight. JC Jane, a big favorite ahead of Jordan Grace in the Evolution NXT Women's Championship match. And then we have Becky Lynch, a big favorite against Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. If you think some of those are off, or you just feel very confident in one of those winners, go ahead, put a little money down over there at mybookie.ag where you can bet on anything, anywhere, anytime. They have a lot of great deals over there. Please only bet what you can, and please bet responsibly. Use that code FIGHTFUL at mybookie.ag.
Okay, so real talk. Feels like so far we are so back.
Yes.
Also, I left and was like, if I leave, is the ad just going to stop playing?
No, apparently it keeps going.
It just keeps going, which tells you, like, through thick and thin, MyBookie is going to be there for you, okay? They are trusted. We love them.
True.
They
Yeah.
are here with us till the end of the year. We got a younger, sexier betting sponsor, and you can go bet on all sorts of stuff over there, okay? We got All-Star Game coming up. Any sport that you want is over there. They also have fun prop bets where they're doing like the under-over on how many spears Goldberg is going to land in the match at Saturday night's main event. So they have some really, really fun stuff over there too. They've been very cool to us since they came on board with us. So we encourage you to head on over to mybookie.ag. Lord knows there's enough wrestling to bet on this weekend for sure. And I bet that when I throw this back to Alex, he's going to be cranky about what comes next.
I don't understand why Ricky Saints would voluntarily enter into a Falls Count Anywhere match against a guy who has 3 lackeys who, if it's a Falls Count Anywhere match, it's legal for them to hit you with lead pipes. Like, you don't have any friends, Ricky. It's been established. You're a babyface, and also specifically this babyface. I think it's a really dumb idea. It should have been a cage match. It should have been a weaponized cage match where you can use weapons, but everything's got to be in a cage match. Obviously, the children are going to climb the cage and try to enter, and that will cost you the match. But at least it has some kind of idea of you negating the numbers game. This is inviting a numbers game. This is you have decided to throw a party, and you are making invitations, and you are sending out invitations to 1, 6, 72. You are inviting numbers to this party, and they're just gonna beat you up. That's a dumb idea. Okay, I'm done now.
Okay, for starters, is Ricky a face or a heel?
He's a face.
Which means he's an idiot, as we know.
He's an idiot, but why can't Ricky Saints be a baby face? We've seen dumb baby faces a lot. Like tonight, we saw Hank be a really dumb baby face. It didn't cost him the match, but he was a dumb baby face. Can't Ricky Saints be like at least like getting a C in geometry level of smart? You know?
Well, for starters, no, of course not. Second of all, I might not be scared of the numbers game if I just steamrolled everybody else in a gauntlet either, to be honest. He was like, you know what? I have no problem with them. Let's do a Falls Count Anywhere. I am excited that this will be the blow off to this feud because I think these are very important wrestlers to the NXT men's roster, and that having them centralized to the same storyline is doing a major disservice to what they could be doing with the rest of the roster because they are in such desperate need of that right now.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't want to see these guys fight each other. They're two of my favorites, but I don't want to see them fight each other because I need them to be extremely productive in what they're going to do with the rest of this men's roster, which does need some love.
Knocked Out Film says when he said dog walk, I thought it was going to be a dog collar match. I did too for a second. I thought that was kind of cool because we've actually seen him have one of the greatest strap matches that has been contested on American soil, him versus Bryan Danielson. Like,
100%.
I thought it'd be kind of cool. I'm going to dog walk you all over the ring with a dog collar match. I was like, that might be a what's happening on All In currently. Like maybe I'll set up a second screen and watch that more if that was a dog collar match. If it's a Falls Count Anywhere match, I'm sure it'll be good, but we kind of already know the finish.
Yeah, we can save that for when we review this at a later time.
Zarya and Soul are backstage, and we're so excited about their tag match at Evolution that they absolutely did not earn. So let's get angry about this. Maybe you won't, but I'm going to.
No, here's the thing, because we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and then I don't know why my brain was on delay, but I was like, oh, I fully grasped what Alex was talking about, and then thought it through myself. Because on SmackDown, you had to win to qualify to get into this match. In Raw, you had to decide you wanted to be and talk to the most gullible GM in all of wrestling and Adam Pearce. And here on NXT, you had to retroactively lose a match to be invited into this. And then the people that won this match are still going to be on the pay-per-view, we find out later in the show. But they're going to be in the Battle Royal for some reason instead of the tag. What on earth? There was a report on FightfulSelect.com, best $5.99 in the biz, on May 31st. Before this PLE was even made official, Alex.
Yes.
Where Shawn gauged some locker room reaction. Not all of it. Cultaholic, who aggregated this. One veteran had said, like, PLEs like this are good because it gives talent an opportunity to show out that don't normally get to on weekly TV. And then other talent were like, well, I don't know if it's a great idea to do it with Beyonce next door in the thick of this PLE cycle.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem great. And I'm concerned, and I've been saying this for weeks now, I'm concerned they'll use this as an excuse to not do a third one if the attendance is bad, because they don't care about this show. And on top of that, Beyonce is performing across the street. And a lot of people said, well, Beyonce and WWE don't have that much of a crossover. Some do. And the other thing is when someone like Beyonce is in town, hotel rooms go through the roof, flights go through the roof. So just like getting into town to go to this is now an issue. People don't want to sit in that traffic. People want to go to dinner before camp because Beyonce's in town. So like it's a giant impact on this if you're considering going.
Not to mention, though, I mean, I know obviously the thing I believe happens Monday and Tuesday, but people come into the city ahead of time for the Major League Baseball All-Star Game, which is also happening in the Atlanta area.
Also happening. And
you know
that concern was something that the minute this was announced, I was like, let's gauge the build to this. And the build has been so piss poor.
Yeah.
And I was like, if this doesn't sell, they're going to, the conclusion that they're going to draw is not, wow, we should probably put effort into these shows if we're going to do all women's showcases. The conclusion they will choose to draw is, well, we don't need to expand screen time for women. We don't need to be anywhere near 50-50. This is not an NXT criticism, by the way. They're the best at this in all of wrestling.
Much better at this, yeah.
But the conclusion will be like, well, we don't need to highlight women's wrestling more than we are because it doesn't draw. Look how low the attendance is. That was something that I thought about, and whoever was spoken to, somebody thought about as well. And I really hope that's not the case, and I'm so confident it will be because they waited 7 years to do this. And you know what happened the first one? It didn't sell out. You know why? They didn't give a shit about it. They didn't give a shit about the first one. They pulled off an incredible show because there's an incredibly talented roster of women. And that's what'll happen again. But like they can only do so much. It is so exhausting to constantly be participating in a world where women have to earn the stuff men are just defaulted to. It is
Right.
constant in wrestling, and it's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It is stupid.
Yes.
But that I say that ranting here, but NXT is the best brand at, at this exact thing. So misplaced post show, but it that was a May 31st story that was 5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Ridiculous that we're at this point.
If you did not see it or do not remember, last week, on NXT, in a show that was taped before they announced the Four Corners tag team match. So it's very possible they had no idea it was going to happen. But they had a match, a tag team match, playa, between Zaruka and Tatum and Tizzy. Zaruka and Tizzy had a match last week, and Tizzy pinned Zaruka. Actually, it was Izzy that pinned Sol Ruka as part of that. And out of that match, that is why Izzy Dame has a title match for the North American title versus Sol Ruka at the Great American Bash. But out of losing that match, Zarya and Sol Ruka were given a shot at the women's tag team titles at Evolution. So regardless of whether or not Izzy Dame pins Sol Ruka for the North American Championship Saturday afternoon, on Sunday evening, Sol Ruka, along with her partner, off of a loss, are possibly going to become, not really, but they have an equal chance to become the women's tag team champions. That is like, once you realized, oh crap, we had them get pinned. The next thing like that you have, like, if we want them to be in the women's fatal four-way tag match for the women's tag championships, if we want them in there, and oops, we had them get pinned last week, you immediately book a rematch for this week. And you explicitly state this match is for the spot in the women's tag team championship match. And then you have Sol and Zelta win, and you have Zelta pin Tatum. So that still keeps the Izzy and Sol Ruka one-on-one thing alive, but it allows you to have a reason why the team that lost last week is just gifted a shot at the women's tag team championships. It's very easy to do, but they chose not to do it.
Whilst we ranted yesterday about this, mostly you, because I for whatever reason was not connecting the dots. Like, Shawn also went out a pretty great rant about this, because Asuka and Kairi Sane could have just had a qualifying match to get in this. And he said, I don't share your apathy, people that were like, oh, brother, about his criticism about this. He was like, I don't share your apathy, and WWE is banking on you not caring about these huge creative gaps. And to me, Shawn's 100% right in that.
Right.
100% right in that, because that's exactly what we don't. Travis Scott. He's your shiny new toy for WrestleMania. Don't worry about the fact that The Rock started all this and isn't here. Like, Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins in 2 months from now will explain why Bronson Reed had a blood feud with Seth Rollins, was injured shortly after, and came back to be in his group. We'll explain that 8 to 10 weeks from now. Like, just do it's because it's not nuance, Alex. It's not like the things that sometimes you catch or smarky fans will connect dots about. It's in cavernous holes in their plots. It's absolutely insane how it's just laziness, and you could have just fixed it. you could have just fixed it tonight. And then they didn't. And then to have the team that won last week be on the PLE and not in this match anyway, that just blew my mind. Blew my mind.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
It makes negative sense.
No. Yeah.
Less than no sense.
So this particular little segment continued with Laney Reed coming in and just being sassy to Sol Ruca and Zelta. Zelta, by the way, had a whole different hairstyle thing going on, which I really liked. I thought it was kind of cool. But Kelani's like, Laney, what is with you? You showed up 4 minutes ago and you're already you're like talking about how you're the greatest thing ever. And I was like, well, I mean, she pinned Thea Hail. She had a really great match with JC Jane. I would say that like she seems to me like somebody they're putting a lot of stock into. I mean, I know she's new here, but they obviously have a lot of big things brewing for Laney Reed. And that's what I thought in this particular moment. And then they had Kelani say, hey, you know what? You think that you're so great. You know what? Let's have a match about it tonight. Let's do it. And Lola Vice is there and wearing sunglasses. She's like, yeah. Or C. And so then they had a match about it. And I was like, you know, they've done a lot to make Kelani the kind of woman who, even if she's not a champion, pinning her means something. You know what I mean? So like to continue this Laney Reed push as somebody who looks like, you know, maybe if Soul beats Izzy Dame and they're not ready to do the Soul and Zelta breakup thing, maybe the next time they have an NXT North American Women's Championship match, maybe Laney Reed, going off of being booked really strong, might be the next challenger for that very championship. And then she lost to Kelani Jordan in 4.5 minutes. So I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do now. Because like Kelani's great. And her continuing some kind of thing is fine, but you pointedly have been telling me, Laney Reed, look at Laney Reed. She's important. We like her. And then you had her lose in 4.5 minutes. And to me, those things don't go right together. Not unless you're telling a story and you don't appear to be.
That was actually what I was wondering, if this is going to be Laney Reed kind of... Because the story was you just got here, like maybe this is something that leads to her being on the main roster. So I didn't fully hate that. And it feels like Kalani's taken some losses of recent a little bit. Like she lost to Lash a couple times, right? She lost to Soul. She beat Zarya. Now I'm on Cage Match. Let me look. Oh, she lost in the speed tournament. That's a Kelani as a speed champion would actually be super fun, but okay.
It would be fun,
She's taken some pretty important losses, I feel like, of recent. So I get that. But I just hope it leads to, because I like what I saw in the very brief match. All of these matches tonight felt like speed matches, unfortunately. Like they all went way too quick.
Well, this is the other thing is like we talk about how they do a really good job with the women, and they do as a general rule. There was one match on the card tonight for women, and it was 4.5 minutes long. That's bad. That's not what they normally do. They normally do a lot better than that, but that's bad. You could have, I would be saying nothing, literally nothing, if Laney Reed had lost to Kelani Jordan in 9 minutes, but she lost to her in 4.5 minutes.
That's a really fair point. But I will also just say, while it was a mess, the end of this was devoted to the women. And it was so stupid, and we're going to talk about it. But there were a lot of women's segments, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I'm with you on like, give me women's matches.
Yeah,
but there was a lot of women's wrestling presence on the show tonight still. So I have less of a problem with it, but there's no reason they couldn't have cut out a bunch of fluff and given this 9 minutes instead, to your point. I'm with you.
Kelani won with a split-legged moonsault, but she did it while standing on the top rope and then dropping down while twisting into the split-legged moonsault, which was a weird thing to do considering that she had been selling her knee. And I feel like if you had a really bad knee, doing that would hyperextend it in a way you would not like. But, psychology. It was a really cool move. And if she's going to find new ways of doing the split-legged moonsault, I guess that's cool. But I always have a pet peeve about, ow, my knee. My finisher is entirely knee-based. Or puts pressure on my knee in a way that would really suck if my knee was actually hurt. So I would always say, if you're going to sell the knee, then find a way to win that does not belie the selling you've been doing. And that's just me.
I agree. There's certainly, like when you were talking about that, the first thing that goes through my head with in-match injury selling, MJF is the first person that comes to my mind because he's phenomenal at it. And there are matches where that's an entire story, right? Like I think, of course, I think of Danielson's ESJ2 was like entirely about one of the guy's legs because they were telling a submission based story. So it is kind of annoying where it's like, I am injured, but here I go. And you're not grimacing through it. If that's your way to finish someone and you're like, I gotta just carry Struggs this thing,
right?
Then I'm with you there. But it's kind of like they abandoned that altogether to finish the match. This is still developmental, so I'm a little less nitpicky on stuff like that. It is cool that she finds new ways to do it. But this is just wrestling taste purely. This isn't even necessarily a criticism. I'm someone that likes to see diversity in a breadth of things that can finish you rather than innovations off of the thing that you use that can finish you. And Kelani did expand a little bit in that regard, but I just think it's so interesting when somebody has there's 5 different ways that I can end this match. And so you are so vulnerable because I can do more than this one thing or whatever.
Am I misremembering this when she was like doing her full you're not gonna have Kelani Jordan to kick around anymore heel turn? Wasn't she like winning match? She was like winning matches with like the Brutalizer. Yeah. Like she was winning like with some kind of submission like that. I mean, she could win 40% of her matches like with that, and I wouldn't be upset with it.
I don't want to see that part disappear. That doesn't mean what she did tonight means that that's disappearing entirely. That's just my favorite way. So that's all there. I don't want to see her lose that just because she's not like a hardened heel anymore. She's a little bit lighter on that front. But I wish this had gotten more time because I think both of them are very good. You could tell Laney Reed's promo was even really rushed. It felt like a lot of stuff on tonight's show was really rushed to make way for the big ending that was weird.
after this match, Thea Hail runs out and brawls with Laney Reed because this is what we got for Thea Hail. I mean, it's years ago at this point. People were telling me she's a shoe-in to be a women's champion before her 21st birthday or whatever, and like they're just not doing stuff with her that makes me feel that they're still their plan. She just feels very ancillary.
I do. It doesn't feel like they know where she fits in, so they haven't put her anywhere. Does that make sense? Like, you had the whole top of the card get called up, and there were some people that were evident that they were going to be next up. Jordan Grace, right? When Blake Monroe came in, obviously. And then there's some people that it feels like they're still in the mid card, and then now there's a few people that have just been around for a while, so they're somewhere in between, and they haven't found that out yet. I do feel like there should have been a lot of momentum coming back from Thea Hail's return because she was beloved when she went out, and she was out for quite a bit with a pretty serious injury. That might also be why we're taking it a little easy with her, I guess.
Could be.
But it does feel like it was a huge pop when she returned and then not much else.
Yeah. So last week they announced a match between Tavion Heights and Charlie Dempsey, a rounds match. So of course tonight there was no rounds match, which is a match.
Of course.
And they did not mention that discrepancy, like Charlie Dempsey, because he's a heel, fought to make it not that because he didn't want to have to pin him twice. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but it feels like his style match, so he wouldn't fight for that. But there should have been a creative justification for why
there needed to be what, because they specifically said next week is going to be a rounds match, and it wasn't.
It's also like that's one of my favorite things.
Man,
I love rounds matches, and then they took it away.
It was very funny to see them both enter at the same time to their same music, with Ren being very confused behind them.
She's so good, dude.
And they're being announced like while standing there doing this into the camera, and you know, but Tavion Heights is still wearing his Bane mask. He was born in the darkness. You merely adapted to it. And halfway through the match, Charlie Dempsey takes it off, throws it out of the ring, which was a cool touch as part of this.
It was. I liked that.
That's a good story beat. And the other story beat is that at some point Charlie Dempsey just lost his damn mind and decided he was going to really hurt Tavion Heights, and Tavion Heights would not. He wouldn't give up. He wouldn't tap out. So Ren Sinclair decided that it was up to her to throw in the towel. And I don't like throwing in the towel. In it, like, ever. Like, it always feels like it's the writer, the creative staff being clever. And as opposed to we don't like, this is so now Tavion's going to be mad at her, but he still can't leave the group. And what happens now? You know,
so this was kind of my thing. I don't mind the throwing in the towel stipulation when you can pay it off properly, but they can't do intergender wrestling or choose not to do intergender wrestling.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It doesn't feel like they can, but I am intrigued a little bit by Ren. Like, was she doing it to preserve the group? So, like, I'm willing to kind of see.
It sure looked like she was trying to make sure that Charlie didn't break Tavion's leg in half.
I know this is pro wrestling, but I would just stop being a part of the group and see what happens.
That's the thing, too. Like, I hate the stipulation.
Wrestling. I get it.
I hate the stipulation that surrounds it. No, you're going to need to explain to me at some point why Tavion Heights isn't allowed to just leave. He's a
grown man, and
he's a grown man with his like, he didn't. I mean, if he did sign a contract, well, that should be part of the story.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But that's the only thing I can think of, is that somebody fooled him with an Apple iTunes agreement. You know what I mean? And in the fine print, it was like, Charlie Dempsey owns you now. Like, I don't understand why you would have to win a match at all. And to me, now Tavion Heights can't leave the group, and the guy in the group who's his mentor, I guess, actively tried to break him in half to keep him in the group. And so, like, now what do you do? Like, what is the story? He still wants to leave the group, but now he can't. And now what? The thing to me that would make okay, now you have avenues. You know what I mean? Like,
sure, is that
if Ren was like, Charlie, stop it, you're really gonna hurt him, stop it, and then Charlie, like, drops the hold just to yell at Ren. And listen, I hate when they do this, but I think it could actually work here. A really well executed roll up with all of the weight over the legs by Tavion Heights just to get out of the match, but he also pins him, and Charlie Dempsey loses it because he already went crazy during the match. What do you think happens to Charlie Dempsey's character when he had to go to that length to try and win, but still lost, and he blames Ren for it as much as Tavion?
Now, that all of a sudden there's a whole new avenue of storylines in different branching ways you could actually come out of this. Is just more of the same to me. It's just more of the same. Tavion Heights wants to leave still, but he can't. But that was the same idea he had last week. He wanted to leave still, but he can't. And then they had a match about it, and nothing changed. Whenever you have a match about something, the right thing to do is the thing that gives you more branching storylines. Not the same, not a brick wall.
I mean, the best example was when Von Wagner and Robert Stone were like, "I'm not going to be your manager if you lose," and then he lost, and he was like, "I'm still going to be your manager."
Yeah,
that was my favorite betrayal. But you're right. I'm a little bit more willing to see where this goes, but that initial buy-in issue that you talked about is something that plagues me too, of like, I would simply not be a part of the group anymore. And I said this last week, so I don't want to bear down too much on it, but it doesn't feel like the Bullet Club. Like, it doesn't feel like a group that you're like, man, the roots of this run really deep, and it is a huge deal when this person leaves. It's like, now y'all release Damon Kemp. Like, it doesn't feel like it has the emotional investment for me to buy it. I will say it was really nice to see some fire out of Charlie Dempsey tonight. Like, today, I felt like, I was like, okay, he is a TV pro wrestler more than just like a guy who's really great at the wrestling aspect of this. Like, I felt like I saw a lot more jumping out of him today that I have normally, and he had a story to sink his teeth into in that regard. So I thought that was very promising, and I liked it. You're gonna hate this, but I can appreciate it in the landscape that it's in. I feel like a lot of people draw parallels between Ren Sinclair and Chelsea Green, and I understand why, because she's a minute stealer every time she's on TV, right?
Well, yeah.
And I saw an interview with Chelsea Green that I really appreciated, from an incredible lack of ego standpoint, which we don't get enough of in wrestling, where she said, "I don't want to be the next Cody Rhodes. I'm really quite at peace with the idea of being the female The Miz." She's like, that guy has a beautiful life. He works with everybody. He goes home to his gorgeous wife at his beautiful home. She's like, I'm fine with that, because I don't think Chelsea's thinking like, I'm the epitome of this. I'm very comfortable in this role that I play. And that was something that kind of stuck with me. And I feel like Ren Sinclair is very good in the ring. And I don't necessarily want her to get typecast into the Chelsea Green role, but I feel like she's really good at that aspect of it. Like, she's really, really good at every time she's on your screen, your eyes are on her kind of thing. And I don't want to say that she fits into any one specific lane, because I don't think they've figured that out with her yet. But I think they need to start figuring out where they can maximize her, because she just doesn't get a lot of reps, and I think she's pretty decent.
Right.
And because she's like adjacent to this men's story, like I guess I just want to see her fly on her own a little bit. So I would like to see that, but her throwing in the towel today, I thought was a good beat, in that it provided at least some intrigue about where this goes next.
I don't see them as being similar at all. Chelsea Green, because they both have comedy, but it's an entirely different brand of comedy. I think that Chelsea Green is a goofball who actively steals scenes, and will do whatever it takes to get that laugh. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Ren is she, like, the stuff that she does, like, requires, and I'm not saying that Chelsea doesn't have this, but Ren's thing is it's an innate sense of comedic timing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And modulating her voice or whatever. There was one thing was like, I got a tag team match for you guys, so everything's great. It's against these two giant behemoths, and then she goes, "I'm so sorry." Like she figures out a way to everything that she does. Like, she feels like the grown-up version
of the really quirky girl on a Disney Channel sitcom. And that's not
Okay.
that's not bad, but because I have an 8-year-old daughter, I am subject to a lot of Disney Channel sitcoms. And there's always the friend, not the lead, but the friend who's the quirky one, who's got a little screw loose up top. And they're almost always the most talented kid in the cast because
Sure.
they're being asked to nail the timing on all of these jokes. The line readings have got to be impeccable. And like, these are kids are like 10 years old, and somehow they find this girl who obviously could be the lead, but it's so much harder to nail all the beats of like the reaction time and all that stuff. Ren has all of that in spades. And that's so important in comedy that you have that. In wrestling, it's so much less appreciated to be the person who's quirky and a little offbeat, but definitely nuanced. It has, like, she's amazing. It's why I feel like she's might actually be better suited to something like that that's outside of wrestling, even though she's really good at wrestling too. Because wrestling will always have room for bombastic, look at me being a goofball, hello, waka waka. That's always something you're going to need in wrestling. And Chelsea's so good at that, it almost never feels forced or fake.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why she's so good at it, because every time you need a waka waka character, every time you have that, you need that person. Almost always it's somebody being told, do it bigger, do it bigger, do it bigger. And Chelsea does it the exact right amount on take one, and we're out.
Yeah.
That is really hard. Really hard, but it's an entirely different kind of comedy for me than Ren Sinclair, who is equally adept at her own version of it. But like, I would honestly love to see the two of them opposite each other.
Sure.
I think Ren, as like, I love what Piper and Alba are doing, but Ren is like not the Secret Service, but the press secretary. Like having to like run, like, hold on, what Chelsea means is like, and like trying to figure out a way to like undercut it would be really, really fun. But yeah, there's just, I really do enjoy Ren Sinclair, but and I love Chelsea Green. So I love that they have both found really fantastic niches in women's wrestling comedy, where it's usually just like almost slapstick. You know what I mean? Like, women's wrestling comedy used to be Natty Farts a lot. Like, now you get Chelsea and Ren, who are both doing their own version of it, and it's working out great.
I agree, and I appreciate the nuance behind what you said. I think I meant more from anytime they're in something, no matter how big or small it is, it's funny and it's memorable. But you're right, and that it's a very, they take up oxygen in very different ways in that. And I appreciate that too. But I want her to be something bigger than the gal in this group. I think she has a high ceiling in that regard.
Yeah.
Which they have time with, by the way. But like, I'm ready for it as a fan right now.
Yeah. Hank and Tank are really excited backstage for their tag team title match, because they're gonna beat up the Culling, who are definitely the guys who attacked them, and they're not. So and I don't think it's also
are, man.
They're so totally the guys who attacked us.
Definitely them.
Lexus King is wandering around the background, like play. He was like a cat with a ball of string with the chain that hang down from the garage. Like, he's like, and he walked away. What are you doing, Lexus King? I don't know what that is at all. But Javon Evans comes in, and he's like, "Yeah, Hank and Tank, you are gonna win." And then Jasper Troy comes in and pounces him into the garage door and beats him up. I just keep thinking about Lexus King walking backstage, and just like, what's this?
Know what I think would honestly work for Lexus King? After when I was watching this, I was like, if he was just his interpretation of the Drifter, I think it could work.
I thought we were going to say what could work for him is
wearing a cat costume just backstage.
Well, also that if he's just gonna meow, meow, meow.
Yeah. So before I proceed, JB Pringle said earlier, amazing Alex, Killer Kate, Papa Paul, Elizabeth, powerful Papa Paul, Elizabeth, and all the SGS. It's been a hell of a couple of weeks, but I'm back, baby. Much love to all. He says Killer K, but then later he says Kate. My sister's name is Kate. Damn auto Corvette. And then Matthew Hooks says, this is a great day. My second niece, Ainsley, was born at 4 a.m. early this morning. Going to Dynamite Collision and All In this week. Feel blessed. Yes.
I adore that for you, first of all.
awesome.
That's fantastic news across the board. First of all, say hi to Shawn if you see him out there. And just have so much fun at live wrestling. Like I've been trying to tell some people have been like, any advice? This is my first day. Just have so much fun at live wrestling. It's a very, very fun environment. I can't imagine with the build to this show. Like you guys are going to see Okada versus Kenny Omega. And if that's your third favorite thing on the card, I'm not going to argue with you because I think Mercedes and Tony is going to be insane. And I think the main event, as long as they make the right decision, is going to be incredible. So like there's so much to love about what you're going to get to see. And it's just fun to be watching wrestling with other wrestling fans. Enjoy it.
Tim McFall says we should do Matthew Hooks puns because he's winning at life this week. Also, I entered the SGS Battle Royal, but that was for Delgado's cat, and now I'm rethinking my life choices. Wait, was NXT was on? Okay. I don't know if Jesse Ozog is in the chat, and I'm not putting you on blast, Jesse. Honestly, I think this is fantastic. Somebody posted a GIF in the SGS Discord of LA Knight just doing LA Knight stuff.
Yeah.
And Jesse Ozog says, who is this? And I was like, I genuinely can't tell if this is a bit or not. And he says, it's not a bit. I haven't watched WWE programming since 2019. I have no idea who this is. And Jesse Ozog is in literally all of our chats all of the time and does not know who LA Knight is.
I love
that for us and for him.
Much.
For God's sake,
like,
the
didn't even accidentally find it out.
The ubiquitousness of LA Knight since 2019. He's been literally everywhere on every brand all the time. That man is the Slim Jim spokesman on top of everything else. I don't know who that is. He was the Mariah Carey meme with LA Knight. I don't know her. I don't know her, but LA Knight. Amazing. My God, just the idea. It's so best.
God.
It's the best. I love it. I love the people who watch
Thank you for
listen
supporting
to us,
us
do not know who the
that
people
hard.
are we talking about. To have no clue.
I'm not even kidding. I genuinely love that he doesn't know who LA Knight is, but my dad would be able to pick Tony D'Angelo out of a lineup, I think.
He knows who LA Knight is by name, but has never seen video of the man. I think that's
like not even a meme or accidentally. I love it so much.
Yeah. That's just fantastic. So okay. We got our big TNA tag team versus the Bouncy Beef. I'm not calling them High Rise. It's dumb. But the tag team name Bouncy Beef is so much less silly than High Rise with Rise spelt wrong. Like it's just
hate that name.
I do. I really do.
I'm like, I'm not a fan of it, but you're like, you are.
Here's the thing about it. Bouncy Beef is accurate. Because these guys are both so beefy, and tonight in the match, they both were bouncy. My goodness, gigantic running splashes, huge moonsaults. These guys so good. Honestly, I'm
they're
Meat Norma says, I have no idea who Team Bouncy Beef is, but I'm stealing that name.
You said Nyam.
You did say Nyam. He says it's Tyriek Igwe and Tyson Dupont.
It's these two big, beefy black guys.
Extremely fun to watch.
Extremely fun to watch, and they did a whole series of vignettes about them, and then served them on a silver platter to the Good Brothers. They did vignettes about them for, weeks.
Did.
For weeks, and in their big debut match, they lost to the Good Brothers in 3 minutes.
Oh my God, they did. And then the Good Brothers were never to be seen or heard from again.
Wow. This was a fun little tag match that you knew that Joe Hendry and Santana were going to win, and then they did.
Yes.
Yeah, it was fine. And then afterwards, Trick Williams came down to the ring, and all of the bad guys beat up the good guys and stood tall over their lifeless bodies in the middle of the ring.
As one does.
And it's so that's what they beat your underlings, and then you come down to the ring and they're underlings, and you get your heat back. It's standard wrestling booking since the beginning of time, but there's a reason, because it usually works, and this is fine. And I don't. They're part of the gab this afternoon, or this Saturday afternoon, is going to be a TNA title match contract signing. I hope they do that as the main event. So it goes up against Hangman and Moxley. So they just we're not even trying.
I understand the business sense of counter programming a competitor's greatest show of their year. I understand that. It feels like you are screwing over your own talent when this is the thing you're counter programming them with, and screwing over fans. I'll say this, there was more than usual. It's so interesting, like helping with Fightful social media now, because it's you see a lot, and I saw more of this time of people that are like, honestly, I normally prefer WWE to AEW, but I'm watching All In. Like I saw a lot more of that than you normally see. Like if you're even a little interested in AEW, you're probably inclined to watch their biggest show of the year anyway. And then when what's being it's counter programmed with is like Goldberg and Gunther, or like this, like it's not, people aren't enticed by it the same way that they would have been if it was a Cena thing or a Cody thing or whatever.
Right.
So I have seen more of that. A contract signing on a PLE is just a weird choice in general.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is
a bad idea.
I think a lot of it is our biggest fans, if there's no wrestling on at all for WWE, are more likely to, hey, well, I'm at my friend's house and he bought the AEW pay-per-view. Might as well watch. Oh, wow, this is so much better than what I watch on Mondays and Fridays.
Or just an option even, right? Like they don't want you getting him liking it at all. Yeah.
So you put something on so your biggest fans have a thing to watch that is you. And that is I get that part.
You know what though, Alex?
What?
One thing that people might say is, well, this is available on Peacock for significantly cheaper. I wish I could watch AEW for cheaper than this pay-per-view is going to cost. And
yeah.
I mean, if only there was some way I could do that.
If only.
Alex, guess what?
What?
There's a way that people can do that. With NordVPN.
Buying pay-per-views on NordVPN.com/Fightful is going to enhance your pay-per-view buying process. Now, one subscription to NordVPN has so many different benefits, but if you're a big pay-per-view buyer like myself, UFC, boxing, pro wrestling, all that good stuff, any combination of the three, if they're doing a fight circus or something like that, this subscription will pay for itself after one or two pay-per-view buys. Change your virtual location, pay for it at the prices that other people are paying for it in the UK, in Australia, etc., and you can get different interfaces. Maybe you don't like Peacock and you want to check out the WWE Network the way that it used to be, the way that it was designed to be, the easy navigation, so on and so forth. Maybe you want to watch AEW without commercials. Maybe there's some other overseas services that you can't subscribe to and you want access to them. NordVPN.com/Fightful gives you that with a great deal and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Even better, 24/7 tech support, so if you have trouble navigating any of it, they can help you out. Fastest VPN on the planet, NordVPN.com/Fightful.
Can I just say how much I love our chat? Our Norden savior. Come on.
Great.
Welcome to my home of Latvia. I love visiting Norway this weekend to watch All In. You guys are the best. The more you tell us that, the more we love to hear it. It genuinely saves you so much money. And Alex, you don't even have to sign a contract with them.
No.
But you can use the code Fightful. And it'll lead to better things than having to, like, you guys don't want to get chopped by Mike Santana. I promise you that.
Right.
But you do want to watch pay-per-views for a lower rate. So instead of that contract signing, you get to do this. That's all I'm saying.
Pongy Vice says, there's Norway, it'll be a bad show.
Hey! You know somebody with the name Lupongi Vice is coming in hot with puns. Like, you just know it.
Oh, yeah.
That one's amazing.
Four-door soup, obviously, earlier, we were talking about where stipulations aren't honored in any way.
Yes.
Four-door soup says, when the Creeds lost, the losers leave the NXT match, then didn't leave NXT. That's the best part.
They just had a green screen. They didn't leave anywhere.
They didn't go anywhere.
Oh, man.
So speaking of nothing. Speaking of nothing, Dork State cuts another promo about how, did you see what we did to Matt Cardona on TNA? And I'm like, no, I didn't. I mean, I took notice of it. Somebody told me it happened, but then I was like, really? You guys started out in February like taking out Oba Femi, the NXT World Champ, and now you got nothing to do on NXT except for like vaguely insinuate that you might be coming after the tag team titles. And so you get bored and go to TNA and you don't take out the TNA champ or another, you take out Matt Cardona. And then you're like, well, we did that and we might be going back to TNA, but we're also over here doing nothing. And I was like, I mean, the way that Dion Lennox cuts his part of the promo, you can tell he's really good. I really like what he brings in the ring, and he has so much fire in the promos. And obviously, Saquon Sugars he is exploding with the Riz. And I really like what Osiris Griffin brings, and also Cutler James exists. And so, like, you have this foursome of guys that, like, at least three of them seem promising, and two of them seem like they could be top dudes. Like, and they're hanging out in a dark parking lot, vaguely insinuating things. Come on. You cannot start them at taking out the NXT champion on a PLE if you do not have concrete plans for them to do stuff at that level for the foreseeable future. And they don't, and they didn't, and they don't, and they haven't, and they won't.
It's also just like, and this is funny because this is something normally that I feel like WWE is pretty good at. It's something that AEW isn't always great at. Usually if there's like, they have a plan with stables for who's participating in what, meaning like if there's a singles guy, he's a singles guy and he's got a couple people backing him up. If there's a tag team in it, they're participating in tag team matches. Part of that's because they just don't have a trios division. So there's just built-in clarity with that. With Dark State, it was like they made such a big impact off the bat, good or bad. It felt like they had a thing for them. And then they kind of won me over, and then it just got muddy, and they got lost in the shuffle. And they're now cutting promos on everybody and nobody. Like, when somebody is waffling in their identity, I feel like the easiest way out of that is to give them an opponent who's very sure of who they are. Very sure of who they are. Because you have something concrete to work off of and work with. And with Dark State, it just feels like we attacked a guy on a different show who's not. I don't think Matt Cardona is a champion at all there right now. For reasons. And also sometimes we're still on here and we might pin a tag team champion and do nothing about it. So nervous. Like that doesn't work. And to your point, Deion Lennox has looked really good. Saquon Sugars feels like the guy, right? And when you give them such elusive and ill cared about creative, you're just, you're wasting. They already threw the goodwill out the window, and now I don't want them to also throw their potential out the window. That would be bad. I would like for them to do a better job. My request is that they do a better job.
There's a montage recapping Inamura beating
you need a montage.
Beating Jasper Troy. It involves everybody from Noah.
Always fade out in a montage.
Everybody from
you
Noah.
Fade out,
like,
it looks like more time has passed in a montage.
You can do it. Great Muda says you can do it. I believe in you. Maru Fuji says, "Come on, Inamura, go ahead and get that title." They say it in Japanese. Io's like, "I believe Inamura can do it," and it's very heartwarming and very nice. And I'm happy these people are happy for Inamura, and we should have done more for Oba for this particular thing. I'm not saying you can't give Inamura a title shot, but on the Great American Bash opposite All In, it's kind of a big old punt to me.
You're saying they should have done Inamura with this program?
Yes, I am.
I'll say they chose like the right Japanese wrestling legends to put him over.
Sure. Yeah.
And I so like as far as just the content of what we're talking about, like the video package was pretty cool. And I use this word with Inamura a lot. I find him positively charming. Like there's something just so endearing about this guy. And when you contrast that with what he does in the ring, it's very, very fun. Yeah. But I agree with you. Like I am half of a tag team that somebody else won my title shot for it's not a satiating program.
And Inamura and Josh Briggs come out first. Inamura's in a suit. And out comes Oba Femi, and he's amazing.
You have such a crush on him.
He's the best.
He's amazing. I love him so much.
I do.
It's adorable. I love that for you. We don't have a lot of those where Alex unabashedly loves something for an extended period of time.
I have yet to see anything except for that one time where he was vaguely misogynistic toward Big Ange, like for like a week. And I was like, then they got away from that, and I'm happy they got away from that
immediately. Yes.
But but this says I beat Jesper Troy just like I beat Trick Williams. Well, hold on, you pinned him in a tag match, so it's not exactly the same thing as beating Jasper Troy is pinning Trick Williams in a tag match where nothing was on the line. But I get it. You will be the greatest challenge, but I am ready. But then Briggs is like, no, but well, Oba says, that's cute and everything. And you are very good, and I am impressed, and I'm going to beat you just like I beat everybody else. And then Briggs is like, hold on, I'm gonna say things. And he's like, he beat Jasper Troy easier than you did, so he's gonna beat you. And he's honorable, but I'm not. I am going to do everything in my power. I'm not a man of honor. I am a man of mayhem, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that he is the champion, because it is the last chance we are going to get. And Oba's like, Inamura, do something about your friend. I do not like him. Like it was just like that. He gave Briggs every chance to not get punched in the face, but Briggs kept laughing at him and saying mean things. So they had to come to blows.
But then he punched Inamura too, so then it became a kind of a 2-on-1 thing, and Inamura body slammed Oba. They're highly telegraphing this Briggs that Inamura loses and Briggs blames Inamura for losing thing.
And I feel like I don't want that because the NXT tag team division desperately needs teams, and I really like Briggs as a tag guy. Like when we talked about it initially, like maybe Briggs is just a tag dude because that seems to be where he thrives ring wise.
He's a really good big guy in a tag.
Really good. He's a really, really good tag wrestler. And I just want to see more of it. I really like that. And I also want WWE to figure out how to have tag teams without breaking them up all the time. Unless, and this is a realistic caveat, he really might go back to Pro Wrestling Noah at some point. Like summer is a very big Japanese wrestling season. Like everybody's got their tournaments then. So if that's the call, that I can't really argue with it as much that way.
Yeah. Okay, so we already talked about that. I'm trying to put off the thing we're getting puns about until the very end. Oh, Javon is in the
yes,
is in the trainer's room, and he's but then Jasper Troy charges in and beats him up. He doesn't hit him with a bedpan like Stone Cold Austin did to Vince McMahon, but it's basically the same thing. He beats him up some more. And he says, then Jasper Troy goes to the ring and says, "I'm done with Javon Evans." Make the match a triple threat for the title. I was like, yeah, why not? And I remember
they love doing that. I would ask too.
You know what? Just do it. Fine. I mean, like, he's right to ask because it is a thing that Ava would do. But then Javon Evans comes out and is Javon Evans. I love Javon Evans. Javon Evans, while injured, should not be able to break through the defense of 12 grown men. He's Javon Evans. He's not Brock Lesnar, but he's able to get all the way into the ring, and he tries to do cutters and stuff, and they fight a little bit, and then they make the match for Gab as Jasper Troy versus Javon Evans. So, yeah, that should be fun.
I'm looking forward to that match a lot.
Yes, it should be a good match. Yeah,
I do think it's very funny that a guy whose name is the Young OG will probably be like the ring general in that situation, and he's a baby. But like, he's going to be the one that's guiding that match. So that's actually a very interesting test, in my opinion. But I really like watching Javon work with guys that are bigger than him because he does a good job of being, so far, a really good job of being an underdog baby face without looking, this is such a strong word, but like kind of pathetic. You know what I mean? Some smaller, like the size disadvantage babyface stories always makes it look like the smaller guy is apologizing in the ring for how he wrestles. That's what made, to me, Danielson such a legend. He, as a face, never looked like that. And Javon Evans is so damn cool and has such an impressive moveset that he avoids that trap very easily. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun.
Yeah, it's not even his moveset. You could change his entire moveset. It's his move style. It's the fact that he does everything while flying through the air with the greatest of ease. You know what I mean?
The effortlessness of it is it's alarming.
If he jumped that high to do a double axe handle, it would hurt a lot more. Because think of all the gravity. You know what I mean? But
it's true.
He doesn't need to do all the other stuff. I'm glad that he does, but he doesn't need to. So, okay, let's talk about this terrible thing. Kate.
Alex.
It was, I think, within the first month or even maybe 6 weeks that you were on this show reviewing it with me, that we were introduced to a young man named Tony D'Angelo. and we weren't exactly sure what mob family he was from, what location he might have been from. Was it New York? Was it Chicago? It might have been Philadelphia at one point. We knew he was talking in front of a major Chicago landmark, talking about all of the operations that his uncle Carmine was running on the Hudson River, which is not anywhere near Chicago. So we made fun of him for a while, but then we realized that he's really committed to this bit, and he's a lot of fun.
He's good at it. Yeah.
And then we watched him in the ring, and I was like, oh, this dude's he's a little suplex machine. Like, this is like, he's really strong and fun to watch in the ring. His first time he got into the ring, he paid off the ref. He slipped a 50 to the referee as though he was trying to get a good table at the Copa. Like, it was great. And then he
this was the 2.0 era, by the way, where everything was banned. Yeah.
And then he did this amazing feud with Legado del Fantasma. Him and Santos had these really cool cinematic scenes where they would like do negotiations in the middle of a deserted park in the middle of the night, just them standing next to a fountain as the like you see that I am here and I have brought no one with me. Yeah, I know. I didn't bring nobody either. What are we going to talk about here? Like, it was amazing. So good. They had a meeting on a houseboat. That was fantastic. Great scene.
Gallus, that whole thing was brilliant.
The Gallus where he got framed and put in jail, and he was doing like basically young De Niro stuff, talking on the phone. Like, he was smacking the receiver against the stuff. Like, it was great. He was so good. And eventually he filled out kind of the ranks of his family with Stax, and then also Big Ange, who then they inexplicably changed her name to Adriana Rizzo, and then Luca Crucifino got involved as well. They have this family thing, and then we realized it was time for them to probably break up the family, and Stax was going to turn on Tony D, and then he did. Months ago at this point, and they dragged it out so long that they just decided, you know what, that's it, kill it, just kill it dead, because they had obviously set up Ange coming back at some point where Tony D thinks she's on his side. He hasn't seen her in a while, and she reveals that she's been working with Stax the whole time. That was the thing they obviously set up to me. He sent her away to a safe house, and then we didn't see her. But that was the Tuesday after WrestleMania.
Yeah,
we saw her tonight. That's almost 3 months, 2.5 months, and we saw her tonight, just out of the blue. Like, I'm here now for the sit down that I called, and she tried to make it seem like and at one point she actually says, yes, I actually thought that by calling this sit down, I could get all three of you guys to bury the hatchet and we'd be a family again. I was like, have you been watching? Has anybody been watching? Nobody's been writing. It's a terrible thing. Like, this has been all awful. And to the point where, like, it was honestly, because Tony D was so good at playing this character, this was a thing I looked forward to each week for a long time. At least the Tony D stuff's going to be great. Going like the match he had versus Ilya at a Stand and Deliver a couple of years ago, and that whole build with those cinematic scenes in the restaurant and on the bridge and all that stuff, so great. But now it's just like they're like, you know what, we're done. We're cutting the whole thing. So Big Ange says, I went to Ava and I got you guys a triple threat match against each other. And the winner of that match is the leader of the family? No, we're all going our separate ways. So we're fighting about what? Just because we don't like each other and we're going to fight? And like, if there was something on the line, like the D'Angelo family is run by the guy who wins it, or it's a triple threat for Stax's Heritage Cup. Stax actually says, I'm the Heritage Cup champion. That makes me better than both of you. And I'm like, Settle down. It's the Heritage Cup. Obviously, they don't really care too much about that right now.
And it belongs to Noam Dar, but that's not important right now.
It should. But Tony D, because he's Tony D, is great in the scene.
Yes.
He's so understated. He's so understated. He's one of the very best they got in the entire roster, just playing the part in the scene. He's so good. And Big Ange tried to hold her own here and everything, but none of it made a lick of sense. It really felt like they had an actual plan for how to break up this whole thing, which felt very mob movie-esque. And then it felt like they decided they didn't want to do that anymore, and they just want to cut bait. We're done. So you guys have a triple threat next week. Not on the Great American Bash, by the way.
Yeah,
on
this
a
was
random
so weird
ass,
that this
on a
wasn't
random
on the card.
random ass Tuesday. And I think Stacks probably wins because he's the heel and he's got a championship, if you can call it that. But then what? Does Tony get called up or just what?
Here's the thing, like, if this had some sort of quote unquote ultra violent stipulation on it, I could buy that these mob family members were having a fight because they're a mob family that's breaking up. But it's just a match right now. It's just a triple threat. But Ange did say, like, by the nature of this, who knows if we're gonna see each other again. So I don't know. Like, if someone's getting called up, if a contract is expired, like, I don't know what the deal is with any of that. But it seemed like a pointed line to say, like, I don't think you throw that in there for no reason. Of like, who knows if we'll cross paths again? That's the nature of how this goes. Feels like someone's moving somewhere. Someone's moving somewhere. Like it felt that way to me. That's how I interpreted it.
Tony
I actually thought Ange did a good job with this, and
she did.
You
but
need
it was
women
so weird
to get stories moving. That's what I think.
As evidenced by this, you'd probably be right. But she being in the safe house for 2.5 months and then just showing up wearing lace opera gloves. Black lace opera gloves.
I didn't know how I felt about it. I didn't hate it.
They were black. They were black lace Miss Piggy gloves, and I don't know that for this particular. It didn't make a lot anyway. Tony's like, you guys got to share the cup. Cut it in half. You guys can both half because you both stabbed me in the back. I don't know. I can't trust you. And Stack's like, this is a setup. You're gonna get me in the ring, and then you're all gonna turn on me. Like, Tony doesn't have any Goombas. That's the problem.
And Stacks does.
Like, Stacks has shown that he has Goombas. Luca doesn't have Goombas. He's a lawyer. He doesn't have Goombas. He's got process servers. That's all he's got. He doesn't have any Goombas. Like, Tony doesn't have the biggest problem with this whole thing for years now is that Tony doesn't have any Goombas. Goombas are really easy to get. I know because I went out and I got one today. I went out and I bought myself a Goomba. They're very easy to get. I got this for $5. It was he didn't even come. He wasn't even expensive. It's a Goomba, right? Look, he lights up. I mean, just Tony could go and get a whole army of these things.
Pretty easy. You know what else he could get? Rocktopus.
You get one of these. You get a Rocktopus. He doesn't have a Rocktopus.
Smell. They have 8 legs. You wouldn't even need that many of them. The damage they could do.
I hope Tony doesn't win. Maybe even gets pinned. I don't care. As long as he's going up.
I genuinely hope.
There's nothing else for him.
If they don't feel like this goes up as an act, I hope he goes up and gets repackaged. Because I think he's earned it and he's great.
You know what I want him to be? I don't even care if he eats all the pins. He's the final member of the Seth Riders. Final member of the Seth Riders. I think he'd be phenomenal in that part with a bit of a of a repackaging, maybe they do something with the hair, the change the beard, whatever it is. He's a different guy. You can even give him a different name. Paul Heyman cuts a fantastic promo about him, and then he just starts heaving dudes all over the ring, but he takes all the pins. I don't mind that at all. He'd be so good at it.
I feel like his style lends itself to what they would need that role to be very well. So I'm in full agreement with you on that.
The Culling are sitting in a dark room with no decoration in it. It is simply a broom closet that they have put black paper on the walls, and Tatum Paxley walks in and goes, "Wow, this place is amazing."
It doesn't even have a PS5 like the Judgment Day setup.
It doesn't have it. It is a shapeless void, and Tatum Paxley reacts to it as though it is, I don't know, like
not that
a mansion in the Hamptons or something. Just
Alex, remember?
Wow.
Control Your Narrative when they had those like segments that were in the janitor's closet.
Yeah.
That's what this reminded me of. It was like, I don't know why I remember that so vividly, but I remember Austin Aries yelling at someone in a janitor's closet.
The
And
rant
this
room.
is not
it was the rant room. Yes.
The rant room, excuse me. It was a janitor's closet though.
It says, and so then Sean Spears is like, "Welcome, Tatum. It's so good to have you here in our shapeless void. Yes, we spruced the place up just for you. But thank you for all of your work in getting us our tag team title match this week." And then Niko's like, "They're Hank and Tank are gonna pay for thinking that it was us that took them out. We did take them out a month ago, but we didn't take them out this time, and they're gonna pay for pointing the finger at us." Tatum was extra Delulu in this particular scene.
She kind of was.
You know? Yeah. Oh, now all my new friends will have gold because you will win tonight, and then Izzy will beat Sol Ruka at Great American Bash, and then all my new friends will have gold. I'm like, she's really good at just playing regular crazy. We don't need to do cartoon crazy. Like,
yeah, this was a little over exaggerated. I would adore her taking over the group.
Yeah,
I'll say that.
Yeah,
her after like searching for all these friends, becoming the ringleader would
that'd be very funny.
Would pop me greatly. All her toys she now talks down to, like all the dolls.
Yeah. So, speaking of things that happened 2.5 months ago, Hank and Tank had one of the great self-contained redemption arcs, leading to them in a fantastic match, beating the unbeatable greatest tag team of 2024, Nathan Frazier and Axiom, who are literally going nowhere and losing to random new tag teams on SmackDown. So,
everybody is doing fuck all right now.
Everybody's doing great. Hank and Tank have been doing basically nothing.
Sure.
And so they don't get a tag team title match on the Gab. They got this one here tonight versus the Culling. And they won. At the middle of the match, Sol came down and brawled with Izzy all the way to the back, and Zelta picked up Tatum and just removed her to the back and so they weren't there to like help out their boys. And so Hank and Tank win with the honk and get the victory. And I'm glad for them. Like, if you told me that, like, I mean, obviously I would have believed it because they're really bad at all of the stuff that they do. But if you told me that after that arc that you did for Hank and Tank and them beating Fraxium in the way that they did, in the match that they put on, and after that in 2.5 months you would have done nothing with them, I would have said that was a bad idea.
You A, are so brave for that, and B, I feel like are 100% correct. Because the other thing is too, like, it felt like they created lightning in a bottle, and it's a bummer when you don't take advantage of that. Like, to just be the ones to open the bottle and let the momentum out. That would be like if when the Acclaimed won and they were white hot, they were like, we'll just keep them off TV and let's get rid of the scissors. Like, there's just when you have something that, like, and that's a lesser extent of it, but like, they created it. Like, this was not a tag team that anyone was like, they should be the ones to defeat Praxium. Like, nobody was saying that until they created a story where that made sense. And then they put in that gauntlet match that made so much sense. So it's kind of a bummer that the reason that this lost a little bit of steam is because they just stopped cooking it. So I really like them as a team, though. I feel like you could very easily heat them back up. It's not like an all hope is lost thing, certainly. But the Culling also isn't like a super hot group out, and most of what's thriving about it is on the women's side. So I didn't feel like this was maybe the most productive program to put them in, but there was certainly nothing wrong with any of this. Like, there was nothing bad about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of it, though. Like,
that is kind of it. So a couple of things that. So there's one really quick thing that I hated and I don't understand before the bigger thing that I hated and don't understand. Kale Dixon was supposed to have a singles match this week, but he didn't because he had a panic attack. And he's like,
you should talk to Roxanne.
He says, man, I can't. He's in the trainer's room, and Uriah Connors, who is not a medically trained professional. He is a guy with a mustache and a ponytail, and he's got a blood pressure cuff on Kale's arm. And Kale's like, Mr. Chase, I can't feel my arm. And Andre Chase is like, hey, Uriah, stop pumping the thing. And then he does. And then Kale's like, oh, my arm feels much better now because it's ha. But he's still having the panic attack. And he's like, he says, I can't do it, Mr. Chase. I can't have the match. They have not yet told us who the match is against.
Correct.
If the match was supposed to be against Jasper Troy, and Kale found that out tonight, and it was supposed to be against Jasper Troy, and we did this earlier in the night before we had the Jasper Troy, like Jasper Troy comes out to the rings like, I was supposed to have a match right now, but the guy who was supposed to have a match begged off. So I want to beat up somebody, but I already did what I did against Jasper Troy. So I'm going to beat up Oba Femi and Inamura this Saturday. Like, that would make sense. You could have actually told a story there. The reason why Kale Dixon was so scared of having a singles match is because it was going to be against Jasper Troy, who would murder him. That makes sense. We don't know who he was going to face. It could have been Dante Chen. We have no clue who he was going to face. I don't understand why he was having a panic attack. We've seen the man have tag matches. The singles match he was going to have was put him into like full on anxiety attack mode. And he begs Andre Chase to not make him do the match. Shouldn't it be Ava who he's talking to? Like, Andre Chase, again, did you sign an iTunes agreement that makes you property of Andre Chase where he gets to decide your life choices? This is so dumb.
I just need them to never do a mental health angle ever again. They are
They're not good at it.
They're not good at. My God. I mean, just a horrendous. And I don't look, it's pro wrestling. I'm not expecting everything to be a 1-for-1 presentation. But my God, are they like the most after school special juvenile?
I don't get it. It's so weird.
It just sucks. It just sucks. As an actual panic attack ever, it sucks even more. But even if, as someone that has basic human empathy, this was ridiculous. And I guess it just always goes back to like, hey, remember when they did this with Roxanne and then they had her relinquish her title for no reason? Like
So
just
the biggest problem I have with this is the through line of it, that Kale Dixon was the first guy to stand up to Andre Chase yelling at his students, which he shouldn't be allowed to do. And then he promised to be nicer to Kale Dixon and all of his students and not swear at them. And then the next, and hey, to show you that I'm a good sport, I'm going to get you a singles match. Oh, thank you, Mr. Chase. And the next week, he has a panic attack, which can, again, by the people who are in charge in NXT, can only be seen as weakness by them.
of course.
The way Andre Chase reacted to it, it was like, oh my God, this guy, wow, what a wuss. That was his reaction to it. And so is it going to be the story of like what he does need is the real tough love? If he realizes that he needs to be tough, he needs to toughen up, then the panic attacks won't happen anymore, and he'll be able to have singles matches. You know me, I can't help but spin this out to its most logical, terrible conclusion. Like, that feels like what we're going to do here. It just feels very bad. All of it.
None of this has been good. None of this has been good. And
Speaking of things not being good, Jordan Grace is lifting weights back she's doing pull-ups and push-ups and planking, and she gets a call on her phone from Blake Monroe. And it says Blake Monroe, but it also has a very, very sensual, like borderline OnlyFans photo of Blake Monroe. Did they realize that you have to save photos to your contacts for them to show up? Is you don't get to choose when you call somebody what photo shows up on their phone. They have to save that. So we're saying that Jordan Grace saved that photo of Blake Monroe to her phone, a woman who she has known for 72 hours.
No judgments on that part. I'll just say that.
Okay, fine. And she's like, where are you? We're supposed to train together. Oh, yeah, well, I'll bet you're lifting weights and doing stuff with your muscles wearing a sports bra. Well, I am actually, but what's that got to do with anything? Well, I sent my driver to pick you up. We're going to do a different kind of training. Like, oh, what are we doing, Blake? Just get in the car. And then she does. And
it's glamour training.
And then she gets out of the car and looks at something we can't see. Says, oh, no. And then to be continued. Don't you love when they do the female bonding? To be continueds. Aren't those always so great? Just kidding, they're terrible all the time.
Change the playbook. How many of these do I have to sit through? Okay.
I'm trying to remember all of them. There have been a lot.
I will admit I laughed out loud when Blake Monroe was like, this black SUV, it is on its way. And Jordan goes, I can't flip that. That got me very good. Here are my problems with it. I see this segment of either a glamorous makeover or an odd couple pairing like every 2 to 3 months on NXT. I saw JC Jane doing this with Thea Hail to turn her bed. I saw Gigi Dolan and Ariana Grace doing a makeover segment. I saw Zolruka do an odd couple pairing not that long ago. You brought up the greatest one of all time, which was Zoe Stark and Io Sky.
And I'd forgotten about another one, which was Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez, where they had to, like, it was this exact thing. We are forced to be a tag team. We don't even know if we like each other. Let's train like each other do. So Raquel takes Cora Jade jogging in the park and doing
And this is when Cora Jade was like full on skater girl. And so we're going to do push-ups and sit-ups in the park, and we're going to go jogging. Cora Jade's like, oh my God, how do you even do this? Let's do my kind of training. And then she takes Raquel Gonzalez on a ropes course. And Raquel Gonzalez, wouldn't you know it, is scared of heights. And it's just, oh, the bonding these two gals did together. Tiffany had to work on Fallon's farm.
My God. They were enemies, though. They were supposed to be.
They were enemies, but it was still basically the same thing.
Very similar. Here's my other issue with it, and this is a little bit more sincere. And if you're someone who just watches wrestling, I get it. I get it if you're just someone that watches wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I went to an ROH show before I worked. Brian more or less says, Alex, please, I've repressed these for a reason. I went to an ROH show before I ever worked for Fightful. And by happenstance, because I'm not a freaking weirdo, I ended up staying at the Talent Hotel. And we were in the lobby just hanging out. This is actually, I think this is when I met Allie and Emily Cease. And Jordan Grace was there because at the time her husband worked for ROH, incredibly talented wrestler, Jonathan Gresham. And Jordan Grace walked into the lobby and I said, oh my God. And I questioned everything about myself because she had this beautiful bright red lipstick on. Her hair was stunning. I think she was in like a tube top and slacks with heels because she's very tiny. And she looked like, at that time she was in TNA. You want to talk about a knockout. She looked stunning. And it was very funny because we were in the hotel and I was like, I bet this hotel clerk has no idea that this woman will throw the nastiest suplexes you've ever seen. But she looked, I mean, stunning. And I was like, take it, like, knocks the breath out of you, gorgeous. And I just was watching this and I was like, you know, you can be feminine and a muscle mommy or muscle muffet or whatever they were calling her. Like you can embrace your femininity and go to the gym and be really strong. And I get that this was what it was, but at the same time, like she came out last week and was like, a lot of you know my story, which was about body dysmorphia. And for me as a woman, like I feel like there's a very real struggle with that of like, if you look a certain way, if you're as someone, I'll put it this way. My sister and I are almost the exact same height. Her I hate myself weight is my goal weight because she looks like a Parisian model with a very thin frame. And I am athletically built. And I don't know, as a woman of the late 90s, 2000s, where Jessica Simpson was like a size 6 and being told she was a fat ass by everybody around, there are very real, like, parts of body dysmorphia or self-image or whatever you want to call it that certainly women of my generation have, which is, of course, your mid-20s to, let's say, late 30s. And so for her to come out last week and say that, and this week be told, because you have the back muscles of a Greek goddess, that means you don't know how to be glamorous. What I've seen this woman, they were saying it in the chat, like she's insanely, she glows, like she does. Mm-hmm. Like I just F off with all of that. Because there are limited dimensions that certain wrestling characters have, and I get that, like, the Blake Monroe thing is the glamour, but, like, to be like, she's glamorous and I go to the gym is, I hate that because, like, I've seen the femininity of a beautiful Jordan Grace. And for her to come out last week and talk about, or hint at very heavily at least, like, her journey with body dysmorphia and what bodybuilding did for her and her confidence, and then to just say, like, that dismisses this entire side of you because you made a gym training date with somebody. who has decided that like, no, it's mani-pedis. I hated that. I hated that. And I understand if that's a bridge too far for people. If you're like, it's a silly goose thing. I get that that's how you watch wrestling. But for me, as someone that reviews it and analyzes this stuff, I didn't like that. I didn't like that, especially after the segment that we got last week. So that was my takeaway from it. And I am so freaking tired of just doing one of these every couple months. This is not how women exist with each other. Like, Megan Loves Wrestling is in the chat. Please tell me if you've ever been like, oh, my friend's such a girly girl. This is how we go about life. No, she's so different than me. We're going to dip into her hobbies and I'm going to dip into mine. I was extremely transparent that the reason I've watched Love Island is that I had a friend who loves the show and was going through a breakup, and I watched that. And I jokingly said, she doesn't watch the G1 when I'm going through stuff. That's not fair. Because that's not how we actually talk to each other. Like, get a woman in the writer's room who is familiar with how women act or behave.
They can't possibly do that, Kate.
No, of course not.
No,
of course not. So this was a big thumbs down for me on the content of it, and just like, do a thing that's different than you did 3 months ago, and the 3 months before that, and the 3 months before that, and the 3 months before that. Like, enough, man. Enough.
I knew exactly what it was when it started. Because they've done everything, but I was like watching. I was like, couldn't we do a thing where Mariah Blake doesn't do weight training, but like Pilates or yoga? Like, this is how I train. This is how I like do my body strong the same way, as opposed to I do a thing that has nothing to do with wrestling whatsoever.
Or even if Blake was just filming it, and you just had Jordan Grace rolling her eyes the whole time because she's there with weights or whatever. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like being pampered is part of training too. I guess the massage part is, but like Jordan Grace during it is like, are you actually going to ever actually start like really because she's so built, you got to really dig into those muscles to do anything. And so she's not actually getting anything out of the massage. And so, like, she also, as Megan says in the chat, the first thing I thought of when they showed her doing push-ups and stuff, I was like, oh, she just got a glam up. Like, she's got the hair in like curls. She had her makeup all done. Like, she looked like she completely changed what she had looked like from before. It looked like she had just come from a place that were like, she did all that to then go to the gym. And the idea, like, oh, silly, come on, get a massage and a mani-pedi is also the idea that it's like, well, somebody's got to take the title off of JC Jane somehow. And Jordan's like, yeah, that's what, and like, so we are building to this heel turn, right? The talked about heel turn as reported by Fightful Select. But like all of it, like this person that we're doing this, the way that she is, she's already basically a heel. You know what I mean? Like, yes, she's like the way that this is. Like, also she debuted being like, I'm better than all of you, was basically her first promo. So
it feels like the Sabrina Carpenter thing is a different thing than she debuted as, and now they're trying to marry them, which I get.
Yeah,
I get that.
Also, I feel like it's really a dumb idea to do this angle before you've put her in a match at all, because the idea of, oh, maybe this is the point, is that you want us to think that she's going to get in the ring and be Eva Marie.
Right. And she can actually hit like a truck.
And she hits like a truck.
Yeah.
And my fear is they're going to book her to be the glamour puss.
and to like, oh my God, I broke a nail, tag out. Jordan Grace,
Well,
I'm going to tag in Jordan Grace because I broke a nail. Like, that's going to be a beat in the tag match on Saturday afternoon.
The thing that makes me hopeful that it'll be less that, or that will be short-lived, is she's gonna turn heel on Jordan Grace and face her. I'm assuming. So
hope.
Yeah, I would assume that if she's facing Jordan Grace, they can't have her be like, oh, so dainty. Like, she's gonna have to be the Mariah May that we know as Blake Monroe. And I would very much look forward to that match. So I hope that they give that to us.
Anyway, this thing between the two of them ends with them deciding that we're gonna beat up the girls we don't like on Saturday, and then Jordan, you're gonna go on to Sunday night in a match you're heavily favored to lose for some reason against JC Jane, not
according to MyBookie, just so you know.
No, bookie,
they have Jordan Grace winning.
Oh well, in Shawn's thing, he said that JC Jane was favored to win.
Well, I'm just saying, do what you will with that information.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
But know that the betting favorite is Jordan Grace.
Shawn's little video that he said about MyBookie. Apparently, the odds have changed since he recorded that, which is
that's very possible.
Probably a weird thing for us to like have. Hey, everybody, an advertisement. Hey, everybody, put all your money on JC Jane. But the odds have changed since he said that.
That's what we will tell you is to subscribe to Fightful Select for lock picks, because those
will be the most current when you can bet on that particular thing. So the other thing that happened the entire night is we got to see all of these women arriving to the building and walking down hallways for this big women's evolution summit. And then Ava starts, and then a bunch of people come out to the ring and be like, you can't do a thing without me. I have to be in the thing. And then Maxine Dupree comes out and says, I know you're not talking about the evolution without talking about, you're not going to say yourself, are you? Without talking about the boat. Okay, thank God. So all of these people, all the women talking about how great they are and how they should be the ones who are in the battle royal and all this stuff. But there can be only 6.
Well, Ava announced that first. Ava announced there were 6 people.
She did that first before they all came out?
Yeah, that's why the segment made even less sense.
That's silly. Yeah, she announced that Jada Parker, Lola Vice, Kelani Jordan, Izzy Dame, Lash Legend, and Tatum Paxley. So Izzy and Tatum Paxley aren't in the tag team title match, but they are in the battle royal. All right.
After they won last week.
Yeah, I don't get it. But those 6 feel
I don't get it either.
Correct-ish, except for the fact that Izzy and Tatum probably should be the tag representative, whatever. But that feels correct-ish. But obviously there's a bunch of women who don't feel that way. And they fight a lot at the end in a very lackluster battle. Julia is just there. Julia is just there in the stands with her U.S. title belt, barely on the poster. And she's just there, and then she fights with Zelina Vega. Okay. That's the thing we're doing.
Makes me think that that's got to be a Saturday night's main event thing or something. I mean, that was weird.
Yeah. Knocked out Phillips. There's a possibility that all 4 tag teams break up during that match. Wouldn't that be delicious?
Honestly, I would love it. Like, just commit to it if you're gonna do it. Like, all 4 of them should break up.
Well, JC Jane says everything and when you talk about the women's division, you're talking about only me, JC Jane. And yeah,
Well, she was like, I feel like I should be in this since I'm the champ and the whatnot.
Yeah. Anyway, everybody fight off except for Izzy and Tatum don't fight. They're just standing there watching.
Which kudos to them. They're already in it.
I'm so happy that Steph Vaquer is the favorite for the Battle Royal. I would be very surprised if it's not if it doesn't wind up being Nikki Bella, but
you cannot, but you can't touch.
Okay. So we have some puns.
Yeah, we do.
And also some other things from Meet Enormous. Says the Nationals lead Major League Baseball in Luis Garcias. They had a second baseman and just signed a pitcher, so 2 Luis Garcias are better than 1. Please sell the team.
They are games ahead on Luis Garcias.
Brian more or less says, "Wow, I'm running late today. Thanks for the review. We'll listen in tomorrow." Thank you so much, Brian. More or less. But also, he says, "Brian less right now. I need less of these stories of all the things that are happening." That was bad. Okay. Let's see. Before we can pause. Greg Cherry Brand says, "Rejuventude Guerrera."
That's excellent. Thank you, Greg.
That is very good. Louis Vuitton Galoa. That's really good. That's really, really funny.
That's extremely funny.
I like that one a lot. Everett Smith says Zach Sauna Jr., Pedicure Zero Miedo, Mr. Infinity Pool, and Kyle Facial. Not Kyle, the proto star, Kyle Facial.
I like it.
This is good. Lieutenant Photo says the Mad King of Pedicure.
You could just even do Petty Kingston.
Pedicure. Manny Petty Kingston is very, very good. Colonic Attraction from Pieces. We didn't get as many as we do on our best nights, but quality over quantity. Holy crap!
My God,
Colonic Attraction is fantastic.
That's amazing.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Rafael Garcia says, "Happy Corbin ending." That is the very illegal part of the massage.
My goodness.
That is
scandalous.
Tom Valley says lip Gloston gun and Colton cream gun. The gun. Nice. Lieutenant Photo. Aromatherapy reigns. Aromatherapy reigns.
Fantastic.
Okay, so here we go. Lieutenant Photo says hot stone cold Steve Austin massage.
That sounds great right now.
Meet Normus says Bobby Fish treatment, Mr. In Sauna, and Macho Manicure.
Those are fantastic. Thank you.
Tom Valley says mascara dorada or mascara dorada.
Very nice.
Because there are 2 of them. Louisville Botoxic Attraction.
Bam, bam.
This is really great. Oh my God. See Delgado. George the Animal Peel. A facial peel. George the Animal Peel. Spa in Manikind. Manicure. Manicure kind. Fantastic. Oh, it's so good.
These are great.
Lola Vice says, "I'm a Brazilian," and then she hits you with her butt.
Fantastic.
Orion Ben says, "Techno Steam Room 2000." Wolf Mud Pack. Jim Gloss.
Jim Gloss is very good too.
Tom LaValle insists that Mercedes must have creative control because it's why Mordos is world champion right now. because she politicked for her man, and he's currently world champion. He definitely hasn't lost way more matches than he has won. That's silly.
I heard that you think Mercedes Moné has control at AEW. I heard she has control with the bar, and that Beast Mortos didn't even pass the bar. But Mercedes said, "We are the bar," and then now he's a lawyer. That's how that worked. It's extremely accurate and extremely serious.
It's exactly the thing that happened.
Yeah, of course.
Meet
Freaking
Norma says,
Fightful.
tomorrow I will be taking my talents to my local crab shack. Shall we crank, darlings? Kate, bangs and clavs on a Tuesday? Shame. What
It's
says
all in
Linder?
week. Going wild.
Listen, sweetheart, like you got it, like the shoulders. The shoulders are out. They're out all over the place. I mean, listen, save some for the rest of us. All of the sailors are going to be throwing themselves at you at the bar. Leave some for Aunt Linda.
Way back when, like when I first started, there was a stream where I wore a tank top that had like a neck on it even.
Yeah.
It was just shoulders.
Shoulders.
And the fellas were respectfully feral. Like they were not over the line, but they were crazy about it. It was like, I gotta keep in mind what this tank top is.
Okay.
My gosh.
Okay. So we only have 2 jukeboxes, which is fine. We're running over time today.
It's actually, this
is good.
That's
Tom wants Braun to sing Mi Muero in Spanish if you can. If I can.
I want that so bad.
Pido por tus besos, por tu ingrata sonrisa, por tus belas con caricias, eres tu mi alegría. Pido que no me fales, que nunca te me vayas, y que nunca te olvides, que soy yo quien te ama, que soy yo quien te espera, que soy yo quien te llora, que soy yo quien te angela, los minutos y horas. Me muero por besarte, dormirme en tu boca. Me muero por decirte que el mundo se equivoca. Get these Spanish songs.
Manos is hands in Spanish.
I know.
Just say Braun should know.
Get these manos.
That's definitely how he pronounces it, by the way.
He definitely would pronounce it that way.
100%.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Well, I can't do the thing unless I hold on a second. I don't have a thing to sing, but I'm here anyway. How's it going? What's my son doing now?
How are you? You were at a sorts yesterday.
No, it wasn't me. It was an imposter.
Oh, okay.
Occasionally, no, don't you wink at me.
No, yeah, it was an imposter.
Occasionally, King Kong Bundy will have too much to drink and then impersonate me on the streams.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously that sounded nothing like me last night. I don't even like mango dangos.
Sure. That wasn't you.
I don't have to stand for this. You not believing me. I'm gonna go find King Kong Bundy, and he's gonna come on here and he's gonna admit to it. I will definitely be back very soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hello, it's me.
Ricky!
Rafael Garcia says Ricky Rainbow sings Heroes by
Great
David
choice,
Bowie.
legit. Great song.
Heroes by David Bowie. Lyrics. David and me, we used to be mates.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but we had a falling out.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. I was
What
all
happened?
set. I was all set to play the lead in Labyrinth, but then he snaked the role out from under me.
Oh my
I was going
gosh,
to
I
be a
100%
big movie
believe
star.
that.
I was going to be a big movie star, but then he snaked it out from under me.
Son of a bee.
I will be king, and you will be queen. Though nothing will drive them away, we can beat them just for one day. We can be heroes just for one day. And you could be mean. And I'll drink all the time, because we're lovers, and that is a fact. Yes, we're lovers, and that is that. Though nothing will keep us together, we could steal time just for one day. We could be heroes forever and ever. What you say? I wish you could swim like the dolphins. Like dolphins can swim. Though nothing will keep us together, we can beat them forever and ever. Oh, we can be heroes just for one day. Thank you.
That was beautiful. I'm sorry for your falling out with David Bowie.
It's all right. We made up later, but it was never the same. We used to be thick as thieves. We was, but then I was this close, and then he was like, "I'd like to be in your movie instead." But they were, well, we already almost signed the contract with your friend Ricky Rainbow, and he was like, "No, put me in the movie with the Muppets in the fantasy land." And they said, "All right, Mr. Bowie, we will do that." I mean,
I'm sorry.
he already had the music career. He didn't have to steal my movie career from me.
Excessive. Honestly, excessive.
Obviously, I'm still very broken up about it.
Obviously.
All right, well. So, Kate, it has not been decided when you and Alex are going to be reviewing the Great American Bash. We should tell the people not to expect that on this channel right after the Great American Bash.
No, so myself and Alex, who I can't be any clearer, is not you.
It's not me. I'm Ricky Rainbow.
You're Ricky Rainbow. But me and Alex are going to be doing the All-In post show on the main. Very excited for that. I will also be doing the Evolution post show with Cresta. So looking forward to that. Maybe I think we're gonna hope for a Sunday matinee of Great American Bash. But we're gonna see how it goes. I'll also take a moment to plug my own YouTube channel, which has a video coming out tomorrow about 3 things that AEW absolutely has to do at All In for it to be considered a success. I had a video go up yesterday that was 3 things from the Vince era of booking that have snuck back in. So got a lot of support on that, over 1,000 views. Thank you so much. But that's what I got going on my own channel. I think hopefully on Sunday afternoon we'll do a matinee of that. But AEW pay-per-views go very long, and that review will probably go till 3 a.m. So we'll see.
Yep.
But that's what me and Alex have going on.
Yeah. You and Alex are doing that. I will just be watching.
You're gonna watch?
Yeah, I'll watch.
Nice. Okay.
If I'm not doing anything else, I don't know.
Do you think anyone you know is going to be in the Casino Gauntlet? Any surprises?
No. Most of the people I know are dead.
Oh, that's sad.
You know, it's all the.
You
drugs.
do a lot of drugs, so
it's all the drugs. So if they're not dead, they're in rehab, and they don't let you out to do Casino Gauntlet Battle Royals. You got to stay in the rehab. So
I mean, it's probably the right call, but
all right.
All right, Richard. Is your full name Richard?
Well, what else would it be?
I didn't know if you were just Ricky. Like, I'm just Kate. I'm not Catherine or anything.
No.
Richard?
No. Yeah. No. Richard Lionheart Rainbow. Keep cool, gabagoos!